नमस्कार, सत श्री अकाल, राम राम सा, खंबागणी वणक्कम, प्रणाम। आप सभी का ऑल्टरनेट मीडिया पे फिर से स्वागत है। मैं आपकी होस्ट गायत्री देवी। हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए पीवीआर नरसिम्हा राव सर, ऑथर, इंजीनियर, एस्ट्रोलॉजर। सर के वीडियोस बहुत वायरल जाते हैं एंड बहुत बहुत अप्रिशिएटेड हैं। आई मीन, इमेजिन ही इज वन ऑफ द टॉप मोस्ट साइंटिस्ट एंड इंजीनियर्स एंड hobby. It's like a passion and a hobby, I would say, that he does. And it's beyond words. जितने प्यार से सिंप्लीफाई करके सर समझाते हैं, बहुत मुश्किल होता है ऐसे लोगों के साथ मिलना और सत्संग करना. दिस इज नथिंग लेस देन अ सत्संग, having a good company and a good time. Periana, a very warm welcome on the show. All my viewers have been asking me, emailing me, ki where is the Maharashtra election going? So over to you, Periana.
Namaskar, Gayatri ji, and namaste to all your viewers. Okay, so Maharashtra election. Maharashtra is a very tricky state to predict for astrologers. When we look at the general election of India, you just look at two charts, Narendra Modi ji and Rahul Gandhi ji, and you can basically make a call based on those two charts. And those two charts are known with a lot of accuracy. In the case of Maharashtra, there are just too many players, so many powerful leaders, so many alliances, and these alliances are not really written in stone. As we saw in 2019, basically Uddhav Thackeray ji ran with BJP, but after the election, he basically changed his alliance. So basically, Maharashtra politics is very tricky. There are so many players, and everybody knows everybody else. Everybody has relation with others. So it's very difficult to predict. And also, we don't have the charts of all of them. But we have two charts. I have the chart of Sri Devendra Fadnavis ji, which is reasonably reliable. And I also have the chart of Uddhav Thackeray ji, which is not 100% reliable, but it seems reasonable. I'm not 100% sure of it. I can't vouch for it, but it seems to be reasonable. But Devendra Fadnavis ji chart, I'm pretty confident. And the other key players like Ajit Pawar ji, Eknath Shinde ji, we don't even have their charts. But in the case of Eknath Shinde ji, we have his birth date. So from that, we can at least know his Janma Rasi, where the moon is. We don't know the whole chart, but based on the moon, we can see the transits. And moreover, we can see how the day is for Narendra Modi ji. Even though there are two elections on the day, Jharkhand and Maharashtra, obviously Maharashtra is a very big state, very key state nationally. So success or failure in Maharashtra will also to some extent reflect in the chart of Narendra Modi ji. At least if you look at the whole year or whole life, it may not matter that one election. But if you look at that particular day, the result of that particular day will reflect in a big way in Narendra Modi ji's daily fortune. So I basically try to combine all these factors and try to extrapolate them and come up with a conclusion. It was very tricky this time. As I mentioned in a previous video on your channel, Uddhav Thackeray ji is running a good year. The current year for him is actually a pretty good year. So, but the thing is, we also have to balance it along with the current year, the Varshafal based on the annual Tajika chart. We also have to look at the transits, dasas, etc. So when we combine all those, if we look at the transits, he has a moon in Simha in Leo. His Janma Rasi is Simha, and moon is around 20 degrees of Leo. And right now, Shani is in the 7th house from moon. And Shani transiting in the 7th house is not supposed to be a good transit. It shows basically moving with the wrong people, because 7th house is your relationships, etc. So moving with wrong people, and also it is not good for success in a democracy, because Saturn shows masses, and 7th house is not a good placement for Saturn. And Saturn's aspect or conjunction with moon, it basically shows sorrow, disappointments, etc. And right now, Saturn is very close to 20 degrees in Aquarius, in Kumbha. So he is having almost close aspect on his natal moon. That is one factor. The other factor is his current dasa is Jupiter. He's running Guru Mahadasa. That is actually a pretty good dasa for him. But the thing is, he's at the end of this dasa. He's running the Rahu Antadasa in Guru Mahadasa. And in his natal chart, Rahu is having aspect on Guru. So that gives a yoga called Guru Chandal Yoga. So it basically shows the intellect being perverted and making wrong decisions, etc. And also the dharma within you basically being destroyed, because Rahu is the demon and Guru stands for the intellect that is within us. He's a personification of our Dhishakti. So current Antardasha within the Guru Mahadasha is not really a superb dasha for him, Antardasha for him. And moreover, the Dasha Lord Jupiter is transiting in the 10th house from Moon. According to Shastras, Guru in the 10th house is not really a good house transit from Moon. From Lagna, it is a good transit, but from Moon, it's not a good transit. So it shows some setbacks in career or some having to basically be humble in your career. So the annual chart is good, but transits are not really that great. And more importantly, if we look at next year is really crazy for him, very terrible for him. The transit of Saturn from Aquarius to Pisces in March 2025 is not good for him, because then Saturn will be going into 8th house. He will have Ashtamasani. Ashtamasani gives all kinds of troubles to a person. And between March and June, it will be both Saturn and Rahu together in the 8th house of troubles. So the time period is very challenging for him. He will have all kinds of troubles, getting involved in serious, could be some conspiracies, could be some scandals. In general, it shows a very depressed and anxious state of mind. And then Rahu will move from Meena to Kumbha. He'll be in Aquarius, and then Ketu will move to Janmarasi. Janmaketu is not a good transit. Moreover, towards the end of 2025 or early 2026, Ketu will go exactly over his moon. And that's a terrible transit. When Ketu transits over your natal moon, it shows basically being totally confused and your mind is basically really messed up. You're wondering what the hell is going on. So it's basically he has another year or two basically that are really terrible for him ahead of him. And then this is coming in the Guru Rahu Antardasha, which is triggering the Guru Chandal Yoga in his chart, which is basically removing. See, Guru is giving a Mahapurush Yoga in his chart. So that is why the Guru Dasha, the 16-year Guru Dasha, that is basically towards the end now, has been a pretty good Dasha for him. He's been around power all this time. But the thing is, he's coming to the end of that Dasha, and moreover, the Guru Rahu combination has been triggered. So all this basically makes me think that Uddhav Thackerayji, even though there will be a good showing this year, in the end, he will end up on the losing side. He will not basically be in government as a result of this, and then he will also suffer a lot of serious setbacks next year and in 2026. And then coming to Eknath Shindeji's chart, we don't have his chart, no but time, but as I said, his Janmarasi is in Dhanus. So he has Shani in the 3rd house. So Shani in the 3rd house is basically a very good transit. And Shani is an important planet for political success, in electoral success, for being a mass leader. And now coming to the chart of Devendra Fadnavis ji, I mentioned earlier that he is starting Shukra Mahadasha based on his Rashi chart. He was in Ketu Dasha for the last 7 years. So that was a Dasha of some ups and downs. It's not the best Dasha in his life. But 20 years Shukra Mahadasha started in October 2024. That is based on the Ainamsha that I use. Some people may use the standard Lahiri Ainamsha, which is what 99% of astrologers use. Based on it, it is in 2026. Early 2026 is when his Shukra Mahadasha will start. And also for people who use Raman Ainamsha, which was advocated by Dr. B.V. Raman, that Shukra Mahadasha started in June or July 2024. So my Ainamsha is close to Dr. Raman's Ainamsha, whereas Lahiri Ainamsha is way far off. So assuming that Raman Ainamsha or the Ainamsha that I use is correct, he already started Shukra Mahadasha. And Shukra, he is the 9th lord in his chart. He gives Bhagya. And even though he's in the 12th house, he's in a house that has the Arudha Padas of 9th and 10th houses, Bhagya and Karma. So basically, Bhagyapada and Karmapada, Rajapada are together. So that's kind of like a Rajayoga. So Shukra is in that Rajayoga and he's the 9th lord. So in my assessment, this 20-year Dasha basically, which has recently started, or according to some calculations, he is going to start in another year, is basically a superb superb dasha for him. As I mentioned in a previous video on your channel, he is going to only rise and rise and rise in the coming years in national politics. He is here to stay, irrespective of any temporary setbacks and ups and downs. He's a star in the making. So his good dasha has started based on the dasha. And then if you look at the transits, the interesting thing is he has Sade Sati, 7.5 years of Saturnine troubles, which started like 3 years back. So that is basically still there. And his moon is around 24 degrees, between 23 and 24 degrees in Aquarius. So Saturn is very close to his moon. But the thing is, if you look at the gap between his moon and Saturn, it is like 4 degrees. Whereas Uddhav Thackeray's moon is being aspected almost closely. So there is some problem for Devendraji also, but Uddhav Thackeray, he basically misses it narrowly, whereas Uddhavji basically gets it more cleanly. So comparatively, even though there is some Saturnine trouble to Devendraji also, Uddhavji has a bigger problem. So out of those two, when Saturn has to trouble, he will pick Uddhavji rather than Devendraji in my assessment. So that's one thing. The other thing is the other planets. If you look at Jupiter transit, Jupiter is in the 4th house from Aquarius. The Janmarasi of Devendraji is Aquarius. So from Aquarius, Jupiter is in the 4th house. Even from Lagna, which is Virgo, Jupiter is in the 9th house, Bhagya, which is good. So Jupiter is having a terrific transit. And in his Rasi chart, Jupiter is not a very key planet, but in Dasyamsha, the chart of career, he's a very key planet because he's giving a Rajoga. He's the planet, he's the lord of the 5th house of power. He's in Lagna and he's taking part in a Rajoga, as I showed in a previous video. So Jupiter is a key planet and he's having a good transit. So even though there is Sade Sati, the Saturnine trouble, Jupiter's transit is good. Moreover, at the time of the elections, Sun and Mercury will be in the 10th house from his moon, which is a good transit again. And then Venus, who's a very important planet for him, the Dasha Lord, he will be in the 11th house, which is again a good transit. When Venus is in Sagittarius, that's the 11th house from Aquarius. So overall, even though there are some bad transits, mainly Saturn and Ketu, there are several really good transits for Devendraji. And also looking at the annual chart, his annual chart is also good, the Varshapal chart. Just like Uddhavji's chart, Devendraji also has a good chart. So combining all the factors, my assessment is that Devendraji will prevail. He will be basically around power. His position will improve or continue during this year. I don't really anticipate a loss of position during this year. So I do expect that the BJP alliance, Mahayuti, will defeat MVA in the coming election. It may be close given that there are some positive factors also for Uddhavji. Unfortunately, I don't know other candidates, but just comparing Devendraji and Uddhavji, it may be close, but in the end, Mahayuti may basically prevail comfortably. And one more thing is, given that he is running Sade Sati, and given that based on the Dasyamsha Dasha, instead of Rasi Dasha, where I said Shukra Mahadasha started recently, based on the Dasyamsha, there is a different Dasha. I used Dvadashotri Dasha in his Dasyamsha. Based on that, from 2026, his great rise will come. Until then, it is so time basically. It's not a superb time. It's a time of making some compromises, making some investments in his career. So my guess is, it is possible, given all the strengths, he could become the chief minister. But if I were to make an educated guess based on all the factors that I can see, astrology is not really a deterministic science. It's a probabilistic science. It's a matter of what is more likely, what is less likely. And also, it's not like we have a TV in our mind in which we see what is going to happen. There are several factors. We basically, all those are either favorable or unfavorable. We have to combine them, all of them, to create a picture. So it's like connecting a lot of dots to create a picture. So when I do that, based on Devendra Fadnavis's chart, my assessment is that he will basically give the chief minister post, even though BJP may be the top party in terms of the seats won. He may let Eknathji continue as chief minister, or somebody else from BJP, or Ajit Pawarji, or somebody else become the chief minister. But without having Eknath Shinde's chart, just based on his Janmarasi, given that Saturn is in the 3rd house, it's unlikely that he will lose the position at this time. So most likely he will continue as the chief minister. Devendra Fadnavis ji will not try to basically become the next chief minister. He will compromise on that. But my feeling is whether he becomes chief minister now or not, he will very soon, within a year or maximum couple of years, he will probably have some bigger, apart from Maharashtra politics, some bigger things on his mind. He may be roped in by the BJP. They may not be thinking right now. They are still in the Narendra Modi and Amit Shah mode of operation. But the thing is, soon, as soon as next year, possibly, or at least in 2026, BJP will start thinking about the 2029 election and setting up the next generation of leaders for success, for leading BJP to success in the 2029 election, like Yogi ji, etc. So my feeling is Devendra ji will move to the central government or take up some important role within the party, basically, like president of the party or something like that. Basically, start playing a bigger role in the national politics, because, as I said in a previous video, he's a Chanakya, just like Amit Shah ji. He's the next Amit Shah ji, basically. He's a Chanakya. He's a great strategizer, and that has to be utilized by the party. So my feeling is, my educated guess is that he will not vie for the chief minister post. He will leave it to somebody else, most likely Eknath ji. And even if he becomes chief minister, he will probably give up that post to somebody else and move on to the national politics, either in the government or in the party, basically, taking care of the national level BJP activities. So that is what I anticipate. But one thing I'm confident, from 2026 onwards, he will be a big name in national politics, and he will basically be a star campaigner and star strategizer for BJP. And for the next 20 years or so, he will keep rising in Indian politics, not just Maharashtra politics, but Indian politics. That I'm very confident of. So this is my overall. I can't give a clear-cut prediction, but this is as clear-cut as I can make based on the limited data that I have astrologically, the limited number
Yeah,
of
we
charts.
have. What about Ajit Pawar? Do you think do we have Ajit Pawar's chart in Kundli?
I do not
Like,
have the chart of Ajit Pawarji. I did not even look at his date of birth to see where his Janrasi is, so I don't have a have an idea of his chart. But Sarath Pawarji's chart is known. It is basically, again, this is not a chart I'm very confident of. Unfortunately, in India, especially for politicians, a lot of fake charts are circulated in the media. So unless you get it from a reliable source, you can't be confident. And that's not the case. The chart I have for Sarath Pawarji, but based on the chart I have, it seems to add up reasonably okay. I haven't spent a lot of time with it, but with the limited time I spent, limited work I have done, it seems to add up okay. So based on the chart, he's very close to the end of his political career, basically. So the coming year or two are basically practically going to finish him off if the chart is correct. So as far as Sarath Pawarji is concerned, I don't think he will matter. But Ajit ji, it will be interesting, but I don't have his chart.
right. But Pirina, can we decide something based on the Vikas Aghadi's formation at that point of time, because they're fighting as Vikas Aghadi versus Mahayuti. So based on that, the timing and the formation, can
Yeah,
we
I don't
have
have
some?
reliable charts for the coalitions. If basically when the coalition was formed or registered or something like that, if there are charts for those, we can use those charts. And we do use the chart of Indian National Congress, Congress I party, BJP party, etc. But I don't have the charts of those, so unfortunately I can't make assessment based on that.
So
But
basically,
the
a
thing is, one
comparison
thing is,
with
November
Thackeray and
23. Go ahead. Go ahead.
our analysis is based on Uddhav Thackeray and Devendra Fadnavis Kundli. Majority based on that.
Devendra Fadnavis chart and Janmarasi of Eknath Shinde ji. Those are the limited factors I use. I also use Narendra Modi ji's chart based on BJP chart and Narendra Modi ji's chart. 2024 November 23 is a pretty good day for him. And the thing is, in September 2024, on his birthday for Narendra Modi ji, a very good year has started. As I mentioned in a previous video, the current year is really good for him, and particularly after Saturn changes sign, he's currently in the Sukhasthanam for in the fourth house for Narendra Modi ji. He'll move away in March. So particularly after that, it will be really good for him. But a good year is running already from September 2024. So that is why we did see some success for him. We are seeing some positive developments for Narendra Modi ji. And within that good year, November 23 is a pretty good day for him. So I do expect that there'll be some good news and success
Periana,
on.
this is very unfair. You did not consider Rahul Gandhi's Kundali. His Kundali should also
I
be
did.
considered.
Yeah.
Okay.
For Rahul Gandhi, he's also his Janmarasi is Dhanus, so he has basically Saturn in the third house, just like Ekanath Shinde ji. So he basically till March, it is a good time for him in terms of Saturn transit. And based on the annual chart, based on the Tajaka Varshphal chart, till June next year is a good time for him. See, June 2023, 2024, super. June 2024 till June 2025 is a pretty good year for him. Not super, but a pretty good year. So within that good year, the good transit of Saturn will end in March. So basically, till March, things are pretty good. After March, a little weaker. After June, very, very weak. So June 2025 to June 2026 is a terrible year for him. So he is also running a good year. And when I look at the daily chart of Rahul Gandhi ji, the daily chart is actually not terrible. So there will be something to celebrate for Rahul Gandhi also. So it won't be a terrible loss for his alliance, for the MVA. They will have a credible performance based on Uddhavji's current annual chart as well as Rahul Gandhi's annual chart and his current periods. But the thing is, this is why I started this video saying this is a very complex judgment, because there are a lot of positives and negatives on both sides. But looking at all the factors, my assessment is that Congress will put a good fight. Congress and Uddhav Thackeray will put a good fight, but they will basically end up on the losing side somehow or the other in the end. And Mahayuti will continue to be in power, and then Devendra ji may not vie for the post, the coveted chief minister post, but he will basically rise in national politics in the coming years. So that's the overall assessment based on all the complicated data points that I have.
Ji. Now, when Rao sir has said all the things about Devendra Fadnavis ji, let me tell you one thing. One bungalow has been vacated and kept only for Devendra Fadnavis ji in Delhi. So I am looking that yeah, this is this. I've said this thing I think couple of times in my show that there is a bungalow waiting for him in Delhi. Now it's just for visiting, or is he going to stay, or there is something else. We don't know. But there is a bungalow where all his furniture and other things have been moved in post December, they say, or probably when the new BJP chief has to be announced around that time, around. I'm forgetting the timeline. I think somewhere in mid-December or somewhere like that. So it's being said that he might replace JP Nadda ji. It is being said. There is no confirmation. BJP is very secretive when it comes to things. Matlab, so secretive that I think even sometimes, except for Amit Shah and Modi and probably 3-4 people, nobody knows what they are planning and thinking. But yes, this is being rumored in the journalistic circles.
I see.
That the
That's an
bungalow is being
interesting
kept.
data point. In my astrological assessment, it is not outside the realm of possibilities, because astrologically, making some compromise and then basically expanding his reach and going to the national level is very much possible for him, either in the central government or maybe BJP national level post. So if basically those kind of rumors are going around, it's possible that they are, I mean, there may be some substance to them. And more importantly, if they do that, it'll be good for them. He will definitely be a terrific leader for the party. He's a good strategic thinker, that I can guarantee you. He's an excellent
Yeah.
strategic thinker.
There is one question, Periana, I want to ask, because I've always looked at team people, like, Atal Bihari Vajpayee and Advani ji, then Amit Shah and Modi ji, right? And we also discussed about Yogi Adityanath ji. How is the team between Eknath Shinde and Devendra Fadnavis ji? Though we don't have Eknath Shinde ji's Kundli, but with the name that you have been working on, with the data that we have.
Eknath Shindeji, I don't really have his chart, so I don't want to make an assessment. But just going by moon, their moons are in mutual third and 11th placement, which is a good placement. So that's fine. But one thing I can say is they're from totally different states and probably they haven't worked together. But if Yogi ji and Devendra ji work together in future, there is some compatibility between their chart. They will complement each other nicely. They're not they're not very similar people. One is a logical person, rational person. One is a very intuitive person. But the thing is, Jupiter is a very important planet for both of them. In Dasyamsha of Devendra Fadnavis ji, there is a yoga between Jupiter and Ketu in Lagna. And so talking about religious issues, dharmic issues will be good for him. And it's the same for Devendra ji. Whereas if you look at the Dasyamsha of Modi ji, the yoga is given by Sun, Moon, Mercury, and Saturn. They are giving a Raj Yoga in Lagna, in Kumbha Lagna. So basically, talking about progress, talking about inclusivity, talking about welfare of people. These are the things that will basically work for him. When he talks about them, he will get success rather than talking about religious issues. Whereas Yogi ji and Devendra ji, they will get more success by talking about religious issues, dharmic issues, all this talk like uh, we should not be divided,
कटेंगे तो कटेंगे.
batenge to katenge. So that kind of talk will actually work well for Yogi ji and Devendra ji based on their charts. And moreover, the world is basically transitioning to that kind of era very soon. Once Saturn moves away from Aquarius to Meena, there will be the dharma based, the religion based talk will get more mileage in the masses, and particularly when Jupiter is in Cancer and Leo in 26, 27 time frame. That time frame basically that ideology will be more popular with people, and that will win votes at various elections. So and then these two guys, Devendra ji and Yogi ji, their charts have yogas given by Jupiter and Ketu. So basically, my assessment is they will complement each other nicely, and similar kind of strategy will basically work for both of them. So if they are basically in charge of the party in coming years, a year or two from now, I think that will be very good for BJP strategically. That will result in a rise of BJP.
Wow, that will be so nice. Two young, brainy people leading the entire nation. That will be fantastic. But
I hope so. Yeah.
whenever I speak about BJP, my face smiles because of the team that they have. A marvelous, fantastic team. Right, you have this Namgyal in the Ladakh. Then you have Dhami, you have Yogi, you have Hemant Biswarma, then you have Mohan Yadav, you have Bansilal Sharma, Bhajanlal Sharma, sorry. Then you have Vaishnav ji, and then Anna Malai. The team is the team that Pawan Kalyan now has come up. The team that is coming is like, the best of the best that we want. In fact, ये competition है. And this competition is coming out very nicely, and it is leading the country forward. And we are really proud to have this kind of a team. I think this needs a very futuristic point of view and a lot of planning. And I think for that, we should say thank you to Modi ji, I would say. Ji sir.
Modi ji and Amit Shah ji, and in a way, Vajpayee ji started all this. Vajpayee ji and Advani ji. So I think this is good for the country. But what is important, what BJP should remember is you should encourage young talent. You should basically not feel threatened. This is the problem with the other side. If you have a crown prince who you want to project as the top leader, you don't want basically anybody else to come up who may seem to be challenging. So you end up suppressing people, suppressing good talent within your party. So that has to some extent happened on the side of Congress. So BJP has to make sure that they don't do that. They basically encourage young talent, and also sometimes if there are slight differences of opinion on how to proceed, let it play out. Don't basically discourage discontent. Let it play out and let ideas win. So that will be good for BJP, and that will be good for India.
Right. Thank you so much, Periana, for joining. जाने से पहले सभी viewers से request है. Periana also has a YouTube channel and a website. I'll pin both the details in the comment section so that people can easily see there. And join sir on his YouTube and also on his website. Thank you so much once again. जाने से पहले सभी व्यूअर्स से रिक्वेस्ट है, प्लीज लाइक सब्सक्राइब शेयर करना ना भूलें. अगर आप ऑल्टरनेट मीडिया को कंट्रीब्यूट करना चाहते हैं, फीडबैक देना चाहते हैं, मुझसे जुड़ना चाहते हैं, तो सभी के सभी लिंक्स डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में. इसी के साथ जय हिंद, जय श्री राम, हर हर महादेव.
जय श्री राम.